Hello viewers, myself Dr. Preeti Jagmani. I welcome you all for CEC lectures. I am from Department of Computer Science, Aryabhat College, University of Delhi. So let us begin with today's topic. Our today's topic is weighted interval scheduling, for which in our previous lectures we have already seen what will be the, we can say, method to go about to find a solution of this weighted interval scheduling, and this is a particular problem which falls under the umbrella of dynamic programming. So here that particular mechanism of moving towards the solution or finding the solution of weighted interval scheduling will be described in detail by using a particular example. We will take one example of activities, weighted activities which are to be scheduled in a particular interval, and then with the help of an example. So in order to give you a quick recap of weighted interval scheduling, we have n requests which are to be scheduled in a particular time interval, we can say, and these scheduled activities should be scheduled in such a way that these should have a non-overlapping characteristics. That means once an activity is going on, you cannot start another one, and each and every activity is having some weight or some value for that particular activity, and so each and every activity is associated with one weight, one particular value, which is weight here. Now what are we trying to do? We are actually trying to have those activities in a non-overlapping fashion to be scheduled in a particular interval, such that the weight of these scheduled activities should be maximum. So we are actually looking for the schedule having maximum sum of weights of those activities. So in order to proceed, the first step says we need to sort these activities by their finishing time. So activities are given a starting time and finishing time, and finishing time is the parameter by which we will be sorting these requests, and we will also be looking for the index p such that f of p is less than Sn, which is, we can say, it is finding the largest p index such that that is the largest index which is, we can say, non-overlapped with a particular activity. So p of j is the largest I less than j such that interval I does not overlap with j. So this is what we are also looking for. So the first step says we need to sort them by finishing time. The second step says we need to we need to determine this p of j for each and every activity j, and looking pj in a slightly different manner, we can say pj is the interval, is the maximum interval or the interval which is farthest to the right, that is compatible with the j, or we are looking for the biggest interval which is compatible with the j. So in order to understand this concept of p of j, once again we have given on the screen, we have been given some 6 activities, although these activities, the weights have not been returned yet. So we have, let's say, first activity. So first activity is not having any such schedule which is being completed before the starting of first activity. So p of 1 is 0. Coming to p of 2, there is only one activity, that is activity number 1 before which is started before it, but it is also not completed. These two are overlapping. So p of 2 is 0. P of 3 here will be 1, because the activity number 1 is only such activity which has been completed before starting this third activity. So p of 3 is equals to 1. Activity 4 is in a way getting overlapped with each and every activity in the schedule. So p of 4 is 0, because no such activity is there which is completed before starting the activity number 4. Coming to P of 5, so now P of 5 has the activity number 5. Before starting activity number 5, activity number 1, activity number 2 and activity number 3, all these 3 activities are completed, but we are looking for the largest index, or we are looking for the index which is farthest to the right, as I have already told you just 2 minutes before. So P of 5 will be 3 because that is the maximum one, and P of 6 is also 3. So in this way we will be determining our P of j for each and every request. Now after sorting and determining P of j, how are we going to proceed? Basically we can say now we are at a particular position which is having 2 parts. So consider a particular activity or a particular let's say activity j or particular activity n. So either we are going to include that activity into the optimal schedule, or we are not going to include it. So if we are going to include it, this leads us to the branch yes. So then our optimal schedule is now having value of that particular activity n, because we have chosen that. So that value is, we can say, in our bag now. So optimal schedule is going to be that value n plus optimal solution on 1 to Pn, because Pn is the farthest index which is not overlapping with this n. So we can say n plus optimal solution on P of n. Now if we are not opting this for, or we are not taking this interval n into consideration, then we will be looking for the optimal solution on other n minus 1 activities, which is optimal solution on 1 to n minus 1 activities. So these 2 situations can be there. So these 2 situations can be determined or can be written technically in the form of a relation as optimal of j is going to be max of, because we are looking for, it is a kind of optimization problem and we are looking for the maximum value from that particular activities or maximum value of the weighted sum. So here if we opt a particular n or j activity in the solution, this is going to give us v of j plus opt of p of j. If j is not in the solution, it is going to give us opt of j minus 1, and if there is no j, that means there is no activity, the answer will automatically be 0. So basically we can say kind of 3 choices. If j is equals to 0, then j is obviously 0. If j is not 0 and it is not in the solution, then the solution will consist of the optimal solution of j minus 1. So recursive call to opt procedure. And if j is in the optimal solution, then we have already earned value of that j, which is v of j, plus we will be taking all those activities which are non-overlapping with the this kind of activity j. So non-overlapping, largest non-overlapping index is given to us by p of j. So v of j plus optimal p of j. These 3 can be the situations. Now, but as in the previous lectures I have told you that instead of repeatedly solving the same problem again and again, the dynamic programming principle gives us in a way the blessing of memoization, which is there to save the answer for each sub problem. So basically, when are we going to compute optimal of j? We will be saving it in a global array m, and then this optimal of j, if required at a later point of time, will be just called and we can use that. Now let us take a particular problem instance and try to understand that how this is basically working. So we have taken 5 activities along with their weight. So you can see on the screen that activity 1 is having weight 10, activity 2 is having weight 20, 3 is having 5, 4 is having 20, and 5 is having 15. And here at the bottom of the screen we have taken an array of 5, because we have 5 activities, so we have taken an array of 5, and or you can take an array of 6 also to take a particular activity 0. This I will be explaining in the coming moments, that why we can take 6 also. So we have, as of now we have taken an array for 5 activities. So what are we going to look for? We are actually looking for 2 values, either optimal of j minus 1, or we will be looking for value of j plus optimal of p of j, as we have considered in the our recursive relation. So in order to give you one more instance of the recursive relation, here is the recursive relation. So we are looking for 2 values. One is v of j plus optimal p of j. So in the figure, instead of opt I have used m, because I am talking about the value in the cell of that memoized array, and or we will be looking for m of j minus 1. So now coming to the problem instance again, let us consider our first activity. So for first activity, if we take this first activity, we will be having p of j as 0. So p of j is 0, and because there is no such activity which is being finished already, and what have we gained? We have gained the value 10, plus we will be looking into all other activities which are non overlapped with it. So obviously here 2 will be rejected, because 2 in any case is going to be get overlapped with it. Coming to the activity 2. So activity 2 is basically says the vj plus m of pj is going to be 20, while m of j minus 1, which is 2 minus 1, we are going to take as 10, because that is the maximum value we should take. So we will be looking for the maximum value among these 2 activities. One is vj plus m of pj, and the second one is m of j minus 1. Coming to the activity 3. Activity number 3 is having its own value as 5 plus m of pj. For 3, recall that p of j is 1. So value of that 1 here is 10. So 10 plus 5 is going to give us 15, while the just m of j minus 1, which is m of 3 minus 1. So m of 3 minus 1 is 20. So maximum here is 20. Coming to activity 4. So activity 4 is having its own weight v of j as 20, and its we can say m of pj, its pj is here in this case is its pj is 1, because 1 is the activity which is being which is kind of the largest activity which is non overlapping with this 4. So 20 plus 10 is going to give us 3, and m of j minus 1, which is m of 4 minus 1, m of 3 is 20 is written there. So we have chosen maximum, which is 30. So the red characters, or the red number, or the red choice is showing the maximum one. Now coming to activity number 5. Activity number 5 is actually having weight as 15, and the non overlapping schedule is 20, which is p, that means p of 5 is 3. So in case of 3 we have 20. So 20 plus 15 is equals to 35, and m of 5 minus 1, which is m of 4, is actually 30. So now here you can see that we have calculated all the values of having a particular j, and there will be two choices. One is v of j plus m of pj, for which the we can say the above row is there, and the row below of the row below the array is showing m of j minus 1, which is m of j. If j is 4, it is m of 3. If j is 5, it is m of 4. So in this way we have in a way completed this filling of whole array, and this whole array is nothing but the memoized array. And also please make sure that we have highlighted here the maximum value among the choices available at each particular point in red color. For example, we have seen that in the first the activity number 1, in the first instance we have two choices. One is 10, another one is 0, because m of 0 is 0 in any case, and m of p of 1 is also 0. So m of 0 comes to 0 plus v of j, which is 10, it is 10. So in this way we have calculated it, and after calculation we have highlighted the maximum choices, and that maximum choice has been written into the in the memoized array also. So now we end up with a conclusion that 35 is going to be the maximum weight or the value of the maximum schedule which is available to us. So the answer in terms of value, if we are talking about, is going to be 35. That is fine. But now the next question arises that how are we going to compute this final schedule? So value of the final schedule is 35, fine, but this 35 is coming from all activities, that we also need to see. The only value, taking value as 35 is not is not going to give us a comprehensive complete solution. So if you can observe the arrows which are in the backward direction on the top of this memoized array, this is actually, we can say, this particular concept of this arrows or backtracking arrows can be implemented with the help of a predecessor pointer. That predecessor pointer is going to help us to move back to the activity which is going to give us the maximum option among the available two. Now let me explain this. Let us consider the last value 35. So last value 35 comes from what? Last value 35 is a result of Vj plus m of Pj. So Vj, the value of activity 5, 15, plus memoized value, or we can say the value inside the array m of Pj. J here is 5, so P of 5. So which is the largest index, which is we can say a non overlapped with activity 5 is 3. So here we can say P of 5 is 3. So we are looking for m of 3. That means the third cell in the memoized array, which is 20. So 20 plus 15. So in this way we have achieved 35. So this 35 has been shown or we have drawn a back arrow, which is going in the backward direction from 5 to 3, you can say. Now coming to the activity number 4. If you observe this activity number 4, this activity number 4 is actually having value 30. So that 30 comes from Vj plus m of Pj. Vj, which is the value of activity number 4, is 20 plus m of P4. What is P4? So if we can say P4 here is 1. So from P of 4 is equals to 1. So m of 1, from m of 1 it has got 10 and 20 is its own weight. So in this way this number 30 has been achieved. So if you can see the value, or sorry, the arrow from the cell number 4 is going to cell number 1. So that means we have taken up the we can say help of this m of P4 which comes down to 1 in calculating the value of this fourth cell. Coming to 3, now this 3 is having the value having the pointer onto the first cell. So this is clear because P of 3 is 1. So we have taken help of this 1 and that is available there. For 2 and for 1, recall that P of 1 was 0 and P of 2 was also 0. So that these pointers are going towards 0. So earlier when I was saying we can have one more cell in this array with the value 0. So that is in a way we can say justified here. So now we understood the mechanism or the significance of these back arrows. So these back arrows are going to help us in computing the final schedule. So in order to compute this final schedule, we will be taking the maximum values. Maximum value for the fifth cell is 35, then we have 30, then we have 20. Going in the backward direction, for M2 it is 20 and for the first activity it is 10. So in this way we will be able to backtrack to the solution, and yes, we will say that this number 35 is achievable from the cell 3 and then this cell 3 itself is achievable from cell number 1. So what all activities here as a solution are going to help us is, one is activity 3 with weight 5, activity 1 with weight 10 and activity 5 itself with weight 15. So this comes to in a way our solution. So we are going to gain 35 here with the help of this backtracking. 35 goes to 20, then 20 goes to 10 and then 10 is going to 0. In this way we will be able to backtrack the solution and we will be able to determine not only the value of the solution but we can say the solution itself or the activities inside the solution itself. This is the way we will be moving on with weighted interval solution. Coming to the time complexity of this particular problem, this memoized version is going to run in order n time because each time we are invoking we can say one of the two options and we are filling that array. So there are n entries in the table. So the for filling that n entry table at most time is order n. Let us look at the other activities which are incurring some time complexity. Please recall that we have sort the all activities by finishing time, which is order n log n. Any sorting activity is order n log n, comparison based sorting. Then in order to compute P of n, which is the largest non-overlapping index, is order n square. Time to fill in memoized array M array is order n, and again time to backtrack to find the solution is order n. So by summing up all these time complexities of different activities, we can say we will we will be able to achieve a kind of pseudo polynomial time complexity. It is, yes, in a way it is better than that exponential time complexity which was in the case of plain recursion. So let me summarize this lecture. We have taken in detail one weighted interval scheduling problem. So first of all we have quickly seen that what actually weighted interval scheduling problem is, and by taking a particular instance we have solved it, or we can say we have dry run it in a complete manner, and finally we will we arrived at the solution having the value as well as the activities which are there in that particular optimal schedule or the solution. Hope you have enjoyed the lecture. Thank you for a patient hearing.